All elections are important, but the general election that will take place on December 12 is probably the most important of our lifetimes. It's not just about choosing your local MP, vital though that is. Nor is it just about who will run the UK government for the next 5 years. Even more than that, this election will shape the future of our country for generations to come. For Scotland in particular, the election is hugely significant. It will do much to determine who we are as a nation and, fundamentally, who has the right to decide our future. The Tories' #1 pledge in this election is to take Scotland out of the EU against our will. And they seem to be saying to Scotland that no matter how we vote, they will ignore it. The SNP believes that people who live here in Scotland, whether they support independence or oppose it, should be in charge of the decisions that shape our future. That is why we propose a second independence referendum, and we have a cast iron mandate for that from our 2016 Scottish Parliament Manifesto pledge. At this election, we are asking people in Scotland to vote SNP to get rid of Boris Johnson, escape the mess of Brexit and put Scotland's future into Scotland's hands. So if the SNP wins this election, the question must be, what would give Boris Johnson, or any other Westminster politician for that matter, the right to block the democratic wishes of the Scottish people? It is an undemocratic and ultimately unsustainable position, and the more people who vote SNP at this election, the quicker it will crumble. Boris Johnson and Westminster must never be allowed a veto over Scotland's right to choose our own future, and this election is an opportunity to send that message loud and clear. And while it's not surprising that the Tories show contempt for Scottish democracy, the fact is that the Liberal Democrats have a similar undemocratic position. They are content for Westminster to control Scotland's future. Indeed, whilst they claim to have moved on from the days of propping up the Tories in government, it seems clear that old habits die hard. And as for Labour, Jeremy Corbyn still refuses to say whether he backs Leave or Remain, and his campaign includes a pledge to renegotiate a deal to leave the EU. In other words, Labour too is planning to impose Brexit on Scotland. So voters have a clear and vital choice at this election, and only the SNP is putting Scotland's interests first. Over the next few weeks, the Tories should end the charade and be honest with people. If the UK leaves the EU on January 31st, that will not get Brexit done, despite Boris Johnson's claims. Indeed, if his deal goes through, the Brexit chaos will only just be starting. It will open the door, not to opportunities, but to years of fraught negotiations about the UK's future relationship. For more on this story, visit the news article link.